Hi guys, it's Julie over here at Protocol Sports Systems, and today my buddy Scully and I are going to talk to you about knots, or more importantly, not knots. So how many of you guys have had pain in the back of your shoulder blade, running up in between your spine, up into your neck, on the top of your shoulders, and when somebody touches it, you're just like, I have a knot. It's just a knot. What if I told you it was actually not a knot? So let me tell you what happens. What is truly a knot? We call them knots here only because they're really not knots. And so what I'm going to do today is I'm going to show you not only what they are, but how to get rid of them. So what is a knot? First of all, the area back here, this is called your thoracic vertebrae. And it is where the neck ends before the lower back begins. It actually aligns with all of these cool ribs that we have here. So all of your thoracic vertebrae run the actual amount of ribs that we have, right? Which is 12 on each side. Now, with these vertebrae, don't mind my Scully, he's got a little scoliosis here. We have cervical vertebrae, thoracic vertebrae. Where they come to a point in the back, that's called your spinous process. And when they come out to the side, that's where they're called their transverse process. Now, in the thoracic vertebrae, where they attach is where the costal head, the part of the rib, attaches to the transverse process of the vertebrae. Anytime two bones attach, it's called a joint. Right? And so what this becomes is the costovertebral joint. And so in this, these guys will move back and forth and up and down in order for us to hold on to the breathing that we're doing with this big old rib cage of ours. Now, why then are we getting knots? Well, because we are a sitting community, right? And everything is flexed forward, and our computers are sitting forward, and our posture is forward, and our shoulders are forward. Every time that happens, let me turn you back this way, the muscles in the front of us get short and tight, pulling the shoulders forward. Well, when that happens, the guys on the back, they have to adapt to all of the tightness that's going on in the front. So what happens is these muscles become long and inhibited. And when these muscles become long and inhibited, their job, which is postural muscles to hold us upright, to hold us and stabilize us, no longer exist. And so when these stop working for us, the cool little vertebrae that we have in our joints, they have to adapt. And so then what happens is all of the joints will adapt to the change in tension from the front to the back, where all of the attention is now going to the front, the back stops, the vertebrae now start to adapt and roll forward. So what these knots really are is what we like to call here a rib flare, which means right where the transverse process and the rib head meet, where they normally are sitting in, all of a sudden now they're moved and they're sitting out. And so they come up into almost a posterior prominence, so they pop backwards a little bit. So what you're actually feeling is the rib. You're actually feeling the bone instead of the muscle. So when the joint comes out of place, even if it's a little bit, it'll change the whole area of the tissue. It'll change the nerve. It'll change everything. So now everything goes into a guard and becomes super irritated. So now the bones adapt. The joints start to move a little bit. The muscle is not doing its job, so there's not a lot of blood flow right here. There's not a lot of movement right here. So these aren't getting an ability to move back to where they are. And then the nerves come in and they're just irritated because that's what nerves do. So then what happens is this starts bothering us. And what do? We go in and have somebody rub the area that it's really hurting. So how do we get rid of it? Well, the cool thing about it is, again, these muscles on this side are usually overly tight and short. So if we can open up the shoulders and stretch them out, we alleviate the need to drive our shoulders forward, But then what we're also doing is we're starting to use the muscles that go in between these shoulder blades and these tiny paraspinal muscles that work in between each of the vertebrae. And so if we can think about these shoulder blades doing the movement of pulling back and down, we're pushing blood into this area, and we're also showing these guys that they can again move. And so that'll actually drop the pain level right down. So the next time you go in for a massage for your knots, think about this. They're probably not knots. They're probably your vertebrae. And if we can actually move your posture and correct the muscle structure behind it, those knots will not be knots no more. I hope you guys are having a great day, and I'll talk to you real soon. Bye.